Hi, welcome. I'm WA. Today I'm going to be doing a watercolor tutorial landscape using Peerless watercolors. I have this Autumn Chew Artist Edition pack. So what I did was cut the sheets in half. They come in sheets. Cut them in half and glue them into a piece of cardstock. I wrote down the name of each and swatched it out. This is what I'm going to be using today. Also, a water brush in a flat and a smaller round. I'm going to be using my water jar, so when I'm switching colors, instead of wasting time pumping the water out, I'll just swish it in the water. You're going to need a paper towel and your regular towel if you have one. Okay. I'm using Fabriano Hot Press paper. Fabriano Studio Hot Press. I cut the sheets and hole punch them and put them in a ring binder. Okay. A basic pencil, eraser. I'm gonna show you the sketch now. Oh, and you're gonna need somewhere to mix your colors. So I'm just using a Schminke palette, ceramic palette. Okay. So for your sketch, you're gonna find the horizon line. I'm gonna do it just above the middle of the paper. Okay. Then you're like, so I'm gonna start at the right, just swerve the line. Like that. Wet your brush. Oops, sorry. Bumped the camera. I'm gonna go in with Japonica Scarlet. We're gonna make a gradient. Japonica Scarlet at the bottom and Sky Blue at the top. And while it's still wet, you're gonna take your paper towel and dab the clouds. Okay. So you don't need much. It would have been good to pre-wet the paper. I did not think ahead. You can use a regular brush if you want to. I just had these on hand. Okay, rinse your brush pretty well and wet it. Oops, too much water. Oh well. Okay. Grab your sky blue. And pull it down. I'm already seeing trouble with the way I put these papers here. Getting color everywhere. Oops. Okay, your paper towel. Then go in. You don't have to be perfect. Just dab. Like that. Okay. See what I mean? I'm getting color, paint, and the paper's warping. It's a learning process, really. Okay. So with the same, see, when you go in with too much water, you have to be careful because you can peel the sheet. Okay. So I'm gonna grab more sky blue. I'm gonna color in the lake. If your brush dries out, just push it down. Push the button. Okay, so clear out your brush. Go in with the scarlet. Just make little waves, and if they're too intense, just go back in with a clean brush. Just dab it. It's okay if it looks messy. Art isn't always perfect. And I'm gonna go in with a heliotrope, just a tiny bit. You don't want it to be intense. Go around the edges. I think using these types of paints, like the Peerless and the Viva sheets, there's a learning curve, a steep learning curve, and I don't think I'm quite there yet. But I have so much fun whenever I use these, so I guess that's what's mattered. That's what matters, I guess. I'm splashing water everywhere too. It's just gonna be one of those days, I guess. Oh well. Okay, so you're gonna let that dry. Once your paper is dry, we're gonna go with the grass. Take your olive green. A good amount of color. I'm not really used to working with this Fabriano Studio Hot Press, but I figure I have a pad and it's just sitting there unused, and that's not good. So I figured I would just use it to experiment. And you use your supplies, you learn. And I'm learning that I don't like hot press paper. Okay. Now you're gonna let that dry. Now we're gonna do the mountain range. Right here at the back. Take heliotrope. See, this brush is different from this one. This brush has a push button, so when your bristles dry, just push it out and the water pumps towards the bristles. And this one, just pump right here. Okay. You're gonna take your heliotrope and the pearl gray. And then just mix them. and this is too purple, so I'll take more pearl gray. You just want a purplish gray. I think that's good. Or a muted purple. So follow the line you made. And then just you don't want your mountains to be all the same, so just try to make different shapes and textures. Also with these paints, don't try to overwork the paint. If you go back in over the first layer, you have a really high chance of lifting that color up. So just make sure you put your color down, and that's it. Obviously you can do whatever you want, but I just have the experience that these lift easily. Okay, so with the same small brush, we're gonna go into the water here and create a shadow. So I still have sap green left on my palette, and to that I'm going to add sepia brown. Until you have more of a greenish brown. Like that. Along the, it's not enough color. Okay. Around the edge of the grass. Right there. Although, really, you will see it more on the top here. For the water, I'm going to go in with the deep blue. Just a tiny bit for that one. Super intense. Just water it down. Oops, I still had gray on my bristles. Just go in right there in the water. Rinse off your brush. Try to go under to pull the paint. With the hot press, you really have to be fast because it, well, at least with this paper, it dries really fast, so you barely have time to do anything. Just wet here and create small waves. I think I just created a mess, but I'm gonna go with it. Once that's dry, I'm gonna see if I can add more of that sky blue. It's looking too dark. Okay. Take hooker screen. You're gonna create little grass blades. you can cluster them together, like just a few, and then move on, like that. Just the tip of the brush. Once you get towards the back, just dab little tiny bits. Towards the front, you can make them as big as you want, the grass blades, but towards the back, make them smaller. Okay, mix in, if you have any left over, the sap green and sepia brown. Just get it in your brush and go back in. Okay. Take your mountain green. It's gonna be the darkest green that you'll have. Okay, let that dry now. While the grass is drying, I'm gonna go back into the water. Let's. Here's to hoping I don't make a bigger mess. It's not wet enough. One. That's gonna have to be good enough. Okay. So you're gonna switch back to your big brush and take a bit of the yellow ochre. Peerless yellow ochre is more green than yellow, so make sure you know that. Just swipe it. Oh, nope. Well, I erased most of the grass I've made, so I'll just dab. See what I mean? Learning curve. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my small brush, take some mountain green. And go back in. If you want, you can add flowers to your field. I'm gonna take a rose red, just add small dots. Then some deep yellow. And some blue to contrast. I'm gonna take Forget Me Not. Nope. To some cobalt blue. This is optional if you want. If you want to use gouache or watercolor or a white pen, you don't have to, but I'm going to add some white into the water. And there you have it. A landscape using Peerless watercolors and Fabriano Studio Hot Press paper. Okay, thank you. See you next time.